Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Hockey Talk with TG podcast. I'm Ty Glenn. Hope you guys having a great Monday. Hopefully you had a great weekend. Lots of NHL news to discuss and everything that happened last week. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. So the Seattle Kraken, New York Rangers. This game, it was a wild one. It was an intense one. It was a must-watch game, but the Seattle Kraken got it done with a 7-5 win over the New York Rangers Sunday at Madison Square Garden. Of course, this was an afternoon game that came on. Shane Wright had the game-winning goal in Sunday's game. He also had an assist for a 2-point night, and the Kraken improved to 14-14-1 of the season, so they're right at 500 right there, and they end their 4-game road trip 3-1-0. Javier Bjorkstrand, he had a big night at MSG. He had a 4-point night, getting 2 goals and 2 assists in the win. Eeli Tolvanen had a 3-point night, getting 1 goal and 2 assists. And Philip Grubauer made 32 saves for Seattle. Of course, the Kraken were having some goaltending issues coming into this game. Of course, Jordan DeCord is out for the Kraken. Philip Grubauer, we thought we were going to see him out. He managed to stay into the game after that hit from Philip Cito in the first period, which, of course, he got a penalty for a goaltending interference right there. But they got it done. And the Kraken, they notched their first win at Madison Square Garden and also their first regulation win in 8 games against the Rangers since joining the NHL in the 2021-2022 NHL season. For the Rangers side, Vincent Trocheck and Keandre Miller each had a goal and assist, while Jonathan Quick made 15 saves for the Rangers. And for New York, it's been tough. Rangers have lost 7 of their last 9 games in their 14-11-1 of the season. Of course, the Rangers are playing a back-to-back set. They'll be in action at home Monday against the Chicago Blackhawks at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. That game will air on NHL Networks, so you'll be able to watch it on there. And the Kraken, they return home to host the Florida Panthers Tuesday at 9 o'clock p.m. Central Time. All right, now we're moving on to the Tampa Bay Lightning and Vancouver Canucks. So Nikita Kucherov, he notches 3 points in his return to the Lightning's lineup in their 4-2 win against the Canucks. So he had 1 goal and 2 assists for a 3-point night. Of course, Nikita Kucherov missed the last 2 games with a undisclosed injury. And Jake Guentzel scored the game-winning goal in the 3rd period for Tampa Bay, and they moved to 14-9-2 of the season. They won 3 of the past 4 games, so everything's going great for Tampa. And Braden Point, he had a 4-point night, getting 2 goals and 2 assists in the game. Second straight 4-point game for Braden Point. So try saying that 5 times because point. But anyway, he had 12 points in the last 5 games, 6 goals, 6 assists for 12 points in the last 5. He has 29 points in 21 games played this season, 18 goals, 11 assists for 29 points in 21 games played this season. He leads the Lightning in goals, so certainly a top player to watch for Tampa. Anthony Cirelli, Eric Chernak left the game for the Lightning due to lower body injuries. Of course, Anthony Cirelli left in the first. Eric Chernak left in the 3rd, so don't know how long they'll be out. Hopefully it's not for that long. Of course, 2 solid key players for Tampa, so hopefully it's not too much of a long injury. Andre Vasilevsky, he made 23 saves for the Tampa Bay Lightning in this game. And for the Canucks, Quinn Hughes and Kiefer Sherwood scored for Vancouver, while Kevin Lankinen made 28 saves for the Canucks. Of course, Quinn Hughes took a stick to the face in that game, so he left to go to the locker room, came back out, and he scored a goal. Just comes to show why hockey is the greatest sport in the world, and no other sports athletes can do what us hockey players can do. We can take a stick to the face, we're all bloody and stuff, and then we can come back and score a goal. We can take a big hit as well. As you guys didn't know, in that 2003 Stanley Cup Final, I believe it was Game 6, Ducks Devils 2003 Stanley Cup Final. Scott Niedermayer, I don't know if it was Scott Niedermayer, Scott Stevens, but he laid a big hit on Paul Kariya. He left to go to the locker room, came back out and scored a goal on Martin Brodeur. And Tom Wilson the other night against Montreal took a puck to the face, came back out, and scored 2 goals. So no other sports athletes can do what we do. One of the reasons why hockey is the greatest sport in the world, because nobody can do what we do. I mean, we can take all this, and then we can come out and score a goal. We're warriors, we're stronger, and yeah. But anyway, for the Canucks, they lost in regulation for the first time in 5 games. They were 3-1-1 during the span, 14-8-4 of the season. And the Canucks, they continue their 6-game homestand against the St. Louis Blues Tuesday at 9 o'clock p.m. Central Time, while the Lightning continue their 4-game road trip in Edmonton against the Oilers Tuesday at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time. All right, now let's go to the big news that happened last week. So last week, the Blackhawks fired head coach Luke Richardson. They hired Anders Sorensen as the new head coach. Of course, at that time, the Blackhawks are last in the league. They're still last in the league. They were 8-16-2 at the time Luke Richardson was fired. And as a Blackhawks fan, I was, happy for this because I thought maybe a new coach was needed, but also at the same time the team wasn't doing well, so I kind of had to think this over a bit. So of course, if you're a Blackhawks fan like myself, you will be happy that Luke Richardson was fired, but then you kind of had to think it over and say, well, maybe the team wasn't doing well, which was another reason why a coaching change was needed. Because you take a look at the Boston Bruins. I mean, they were 8-9-3 at the time Jim Montgomery was fired, and the Bruins weren't doing well. Jim Montgomery, he was a great head coach for Boston. And of course, the Bruins players, they were upset that he got fired, and now he's the coach of the Blues. And of course, the team wasn't doing well, which is why Don Sweeney had to fire him, and a new coach was needed. So it's the same thing with the Blackhawks. So of course the Blackhawks, like I said, last in the league, still last in the league, even after Anders Sorensen's coaching debut Saturday against the Jets. And the team, wasn't doing well. They were being inconsistent with the game and stuff. So yeah, but first game with Anders Sorensen behind the bench was against the Winnipeg Jets from Saturday. This was an afternoon game. This game came on at 3 o'clock p.m. Central Time, 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. And fun fact, Anders Sorensen is the first Swedish-born coach in NHL history. There's never, ever been a Swedish-born coach in NHL history, so Anders Sorensen becomes the first one. Of course, the Blackhawks lost 4-2 to the Winnipeg Jets in Anders Sorensen's debut. 5th straight loss for the Blackhawks, and then now 8-17-2 of the season. Mike Scheifele had the game-winning goal in the 3rd period for that game. And for the Blackhawks, we saw 2 defensemen score for Chicago. Alex Martinez and Alex Vlasic got the goals for the Blackhawks. Of course, Alex Martinez and Peter Mrazek got injured in this game. So, of course, Peter Mrazek is out with a groin injury. Alex Martinez is out with an injury as well. Don't know if it's upper body or lower body injury, but he's out nonetheless. And so Kevin Korchinski and Drew Commesso were called up from Rockford. Hopefully Peter Mrazek isn't out for too long, because absolutely need him in that. And Arvid Soderblom, I mean, I gotta admit, last season I didn't really like him. I mean, he wasn't playing as well last season, but I feel like this season he's improved, and he's improved, and now he's starting to play solid. He's starting to play well, but the problem is with the Blackhawks, they just have no defense. 2 of the top defensemen are out, Seth Jones and Alex Martinez, so they have no defense, and the team has just been struggling as well. But I really liked how Arvid Soderblom has played this season, so not really worried too much as a Blackhawks fan, but hopefully Peter Mrazek isn't out for too long. And these were the Blackhawks lines that practiced Sunday, according to Charlie Romologist. Hopefully I pronounced that name right. I probably didn't. But first line, Philip Kurashev, Connor Bedard, Ilya Mikheyev. Second line, Taylor Hall, Ryan Donato, Tyler Bertuzzi. Third line, Nick Foligno, Jason Dickinson, Teuvo Teravainen. And fourth line, Patrick Maroon, Lucas Reichel, and Joey Anderson. Now, suggestions to lines. One thing I would suggest, if I'm getting my words mixed up. One thing I would suggest is putting Connor Bedard with Philip Kurashev and Taylor Hall, or possibly with Teuvo Teravainen. Reason why I say this is because I think last season, of course, that was Connor Bedard's first season. I saw Connor Bedard creating good chemistry with Philip Kurashev. Maybe try that out again and see how it works. And then, of course, putting Connor Bedard with Taylor Hall. Of course, Taylor Hall was, I believe he was a first-round draft pick, drafted first overall, if I'm not mistaken. And Connor Bedard drafted first overall. So Taylor Hall will give him some of that veteran guidance right there. If you pair him, Connor Bedard, Taylor Hall, or even put Connor Bedard at wing and Ryan Donato at center, because, of course, Ryan Donato, he leads the Blackhawks in goals. Connor Bedard leads the Blackhawks in assists and points. I feel like they can create good chemistry right there. She put Bedard at wing and Ryan Donato at center. I think I listened to the Chicago Sports podcast, or it was somewhere where I heard this from, where Connor Bedard was just doing terrible at being center, and so he had to be put at wing. And, of course, we also saw him create good chemistry with Jason Dickinson. So I would probably say put him with Philip Kurashev or Taylor Hall, or possibly with Teuvo Teravainen, because I think at the first, like the early start of this season, we saw Bedard and Teravainen create good chemistry together. Why not put them back together? And you take a look at the Blackhawks defensive pairs, according to Daily Faceoff, is Alex Vlasic and Connor Murphy. And then second pair, Noah Allen and Alex Martinez, who is a game-time decision. Highly doubt that he's going to play in this game today against New York Rangers. We'll just have to see. And then we got Wyatt Kaiser and TJ Brody. But Kevin Korchinski will probably take Alex Martinez's spots if he doesn't play, which I don't think he will, because he got injured in the game against the Winnipeg Jets. Is this a turning point for the Chicago Blackhawks? I see it as a turning point. I mean, they won't go on the same run that the St. Louis Blues had in 2019. They're not going to be a playoff team, but I see this as a turning point. Like, I believe it'll be a turning point. And Anders Sorensen, he has been doing great in Rockford. I mean, he's coached the Rockford Ice Hawks before coming to the Chicago Blackhawks, and he's been doing well in Rockford. So during his time in Rockford, he worked well with some of our top prospects like Landon Slaggert and Artem Leshnashov. And his coaching style and adaptability, highly detail-oriented, and he communicates well with his players, and understand what they need, what their role is, and all that stuff. So I feel like he can be a solid, great coach. Like I mentioned already, he's doing good for Rockford. And Kyle Davidson, I listened to Kyle Davidson's press conference when Anders Sorensen was hired on the Chicago Sports Podcast. He also mentioned that he was doing good in Rockford, and he was a great coach, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But like I said, it was like time needed for a coaching change as well. So I feel like it could be a turning point for the Blackhawks. I mean, he can coach Connor Bedard well and have him understand his role in the game and stuff. So yes, I do see that's a turning point, but the team just has to show we got to be consistent on offense and defense. I know our defense is kind of weak as of right now. Now that Seth Jones and Alex Martinez is out with injury, so our defense is kind of weak. But that's still going to have to be structured. As for our offense, I don't think we have a bad offense. I believe we have a great top six, but we just been inconsistent, and we just need to get better overall. And back up some wins, which is going to be tough. You should take a look at the Blackhawks' next 5 games. Of course, they're going to be playing today against New York Rangers at MSG. Start of a 3-game road trip right there. And then they'll play Thursday, December 12th against New York Islanders. Saturday, December 14th against New Jersey Devils. That's going to be a tough matchup right there. It's also going to be an afternoon game on NHL Network as well. So that'll be part of the NHL Network showcase. And then Sunday, December 15th, back at it against New York Islanders. And then Tuesday, December 17th against the Washington Capitals. So tough next 5 games. Of course, you should take a look. Those are 2 really good teams that we're going to be playing against. I would say New York Rangers, but they're kind of struggling. But still a solid, good team nonetheless. So it's going to be tough against the Rangers. It's going to be tough against the Devils. And it's going to be tough against the Capitals. Islanders, Of course, they're over the Blackhawks. Of course, the Blackhawks are last in the league. So, like I said, overall, it's just going to be tough. But I believe it will be a turning point with Anders Sorensen behind the bench. I feel like the guys can really get used to him, to his coaching style. I believe he'll do good with the Blackhawks. He'll have a good coaching record with the Blackhawks. I mean, he was doing good in Rockford, so he's bringing his skill and his I don't know what you call it. He's bringing his skill. He's bringing his mindset to be coaching the Chicago Blackhawks. So, yes, I see this as a turning point for Chicago. Now let's get into the opponents, the New York Rangers. So, of course, the Rangers are going to be taking on the Blackhawks Monday at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Of course, that'll be on NHL Network. The Rangers have lost 7 of their past 9 games, 3-7-0 in their last 10, and they're 14-11-1 of the season. They're 4th in the Metropolitan Division, and they currently hold that second wild card spot in the Eastern Conference. Now, of course, we all saw last week that they traded their captain, Jacob Trouba. They signed their goalie, Igor Shesterkin, to an 8-year contract. So it's just a busy day on Broadway. But, again, the team is still struggling. Some key issues, offensive inconsistency. So Mika Zibanejad is underperforming at even strength, and he's been struggling. And of course, if you take a look, he's got 5 points in his last 5 games, 1 goal, 4 assists for 5 points in his last 5 games. So he's been struggling as well, and it's just been tough for the Rangers overall. You should take a look at their 4 lines according to the Daily Faceoff. First line, Artemi Panarin, Vincent Trocheck, Alexis Lafreniere. Second line, we got Chris Kreider, Mika Zibanejad, Riley Smith. Third line, Will Cooley, Philip Cito, Capo Caco. Fourth line, Adam Edstrom, Sam Carrick, and Jimmy Vesey. So the 4 lines are not really doing too much for the Rangers, and that's what I've been seeing these last couple of games. And like I mentioned, they managed to put up a fight against Seattle yesterday afternoon at Madison Square Garden, but couldn't get the job done. Defensive instability. So I feel like that trade for Jacob Trouba kind of weakened the Rangers defense. They still have, a top 6 D pair. I mean, that first and second pairs, you look at their defensive pairs according to Daily Faceoff, Ryan Lindgren, Adam Fox. First pair, second pair, Keandre Miller, Braden Schneider. Third pair, Zach Jones and Vincent Mancini. I mean, that's a great. I mean, the first 2 pairs are not bad. Of course, that first pair is top notch, but I felt like that trade had kind of like weakened their defense. But, it's just been tough for the Rangers overall. And coaching transitions, you take a look at Peter Lavriette's adjustments to the Rangers system. So it included a faster transition game and more creative offense, and that has yet struggled. We haven't seen results based on his faster transition to the game, and we haven't seen more offensive strategies from Peter Laviolette, so that's going to have to change. And it's going to be tough for the New York Rangers. I mean, they're in a tough Metropolitan Divisions. I mean, like, you should take a look at teams like the Washington Capitals, New Jersey Devils, and Carolina Hurricanes. Those are tough opponents as well. And, of course, the Rangers lost 5-1 in their recent meeting to the New Jersey Devils at Madison Square Garden. So, of course, it's going to be tough for the Rangers in this Metropolitan Division race. Like I said, they're 4th in the Metro, so they're going to have to be racking up wins these last couple games. But the special teams, not bad. I mean, the Rangers, they rank 11th in the NHL on the power play with a 23.2 success rate. And despite their offensive struggles at 5-on-5, the power play remains a reliable source of scoring. So not bad from the power play. If you take a look at their power play units according to the Daily Faceoff, of course, Unit 1 has Chris Kreider, Vincent Trocheck, Artemi Panarin, Mika Zibanejad, Adam Fox. And Unit 2 has Will Cooley, Philip Cito, Capo Caco, Zach Jones, and Alexis Lafreniere. So they have a great power play unit nonetheless. And for their penalty kill, hasn't been bad at all. They rank 2nd in the NHL in penalty kill with an impressive 85.5 success rate. And this strong penalty kill has been a bright spot in their season despite their results. So the special teams is really playing a factor, but they just going to have to get the offense and defense going, even with trading their captain, Jacob Trouba. And you should take a look at their penalty kill unit according to the Daily Face-Off. Of course, the first one is Vincent Trocheck, Sam Carrick, Ryan Lindgren, and Adam Fox. And then Unit 2, Mika Zibanejad, Chris Kreider, Keandre Miller, and Braden Schneider. Can the Rangers turn it around? Maybe they could turn it around, but highly doubt it. I need to see it to believe it. That's the saying. The saying always goes, I need to see it to believe it. They could turn it around, but I need to see it at first. So they still got the talent, but it will require improvement in 5-on-5 scoring, particularly from key players like Mika Zibanejad, adjustments to Peter Lavier's system, and better execution of his strategies, and potential trade deadline acquisitions to shake up the roster, especially on defense and at right wing. Because like I said, the Rangers defense is kind of weakened, sort of, maybe, ever since trading the captain, Jacob Trouba. Because, well, I don't want to spread any more rumors, but I think that I have heard one rumor saying Chris Kreider might be traded, but I ain't going to say too much on that. We'll just have to see what happens come trade deadline. But this could be possible for the Rangers turning it around, but I just have to see it first. And you should take a look at the next 5 games. I wouldn't really worry too much. Of course, they played today against the Blackhawks, and then they travel to Buffalo Wednesday to take on the Buffalo Sabres, and then they're back at home Saturday, December 14th against the LA Kings, and then that following Sunday they head to St. Louis to take on St. Louis Blues, and then Tuesday, December 17th, they travel to Nashville to take on the Nashville Predators. So really wouldn't worry too much if you're a Rangers fan. I believe they could turn around, but like I said, I need to see it first in order to believe it. So yeah. All right, Islanders and Senators. The Islanders, they hold off the Senators for a 4-2 win despite them getting outshot 31-13. Kyle Palmieri had the game-winning goal in the third period with 6 minutes and 14 seconds left. He scored on the power play, and the Islanders improved to 11-11-7 of the season. Anders Lee, he had a goal and assist for 2.9, while Ilya Sorokin made 29 saves in this game. For the Senators, they were playing a back-to-back set. Entering this one, of course, Saturday, they played against Nashville. They won 3-1 against the Preds, and now they lose 4-2 to the Islanders in Sunday's game. But Adam Gaudette and Josh Norris scored for the Senators, while Anton Forsberg made 9 saves. Senators won 2 of their past 5 games, 2-1 during the span, 12-13-2 of the season. And they conclude their 4-game homestand Wednesday against the Anaheim Ducks at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. Of course, so far they're 2-1-0 during their 4-game homestand. They got wins against the Red Wings and the Predators, and now they lost to the Islanders. So let's see if they can wrap up their homestand against the Anaheim Ducks with a win. Of course, the first meeting of the season was on December 1st, in which the Senators lost to the Ducks in the shootout 4-3. That was back in Anaheim, so let's see if they can answer back with a win. And the Islanders, they're back at home Tuesday against the LA Kings at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. All right, Blue Jackets and Jets. So Kent Johnson, he scores twice in the Blue Jackets 4-1 win over the Winnipeg Jets. Both goals came in the third period for Kent Johnson. He also had the game-winning goal, and the Blue Jackets improved to 12-12-3 of the season. Dmitry Voronikov and Sean Corrali scored the other goals for the Blue Jackets, and Elvis Merzlikins made 24 saves in this game. For the Jets, they were playing a back-to-back set entering this one. They played against the Blackhawks Saturday, and they won 4-2. They returned home to play the Blue Jackets, and they lost 4-1. But Kyle Connor, he had the lone goal in the game, while Eric Comrie made 24 saves. And the Jets, they continue their 4-game homestand against the Boston Bruins Tuesday at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time, while the Blue Jackets start a 3-game homestand against the Flyers Tuesday at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. And of course, they end their 5-game road trip 2-3-0 so far. So they only got wins against the Canucks and the Jets so far during their 5-game road trip. So 2-3-0 to end it. So yeah. All right, Avalanche and Devils. So Scott Wedgwood makes 26 saves. That's the Colorado Avalanche shut out the New Jersey Devils by a score of 4-0. Of course, Scott Wedgwood used to play for the Devils, so feels good getting a win against your former team. And the Avalanche moved to 16-13-0 of the season. Ross Colton, the New Jersey native, he had the game-winning goal in the game. He picked up his 9th goal of the season in that first period. Logan O'Connor, Arturi Lehkonen, and Parker Kelly scored the other goals for Colorado. And Scott Wedgwood makes his 2nd start with the Colorado Avalanche since coming over in that trade with the Nashville Predators. Of course, the Predators traded Scott Wedgwood to Colorado for Eustace Edwin, which is going to be funny, having two Finland goalies with almost the same name for the Nashville Predators, because, of course, UC Sauls and Eustace Edwin, I think they're both nicknamed Juice. So, yeah, it's going to be tough and kind of funny to see that for the Nashville Predators. But since coming over in that trade, Scott Wedgwood's 2-1-0 since then. And also, this is his 7th shutout in his career and his first in the NHL since January 19, 2023. For the Devils, of course, they failed to get on the score sheet, but Jake Allen made 19 saves for New Jersey, and they won 6 of their last 8 games, and they improved to 18-10-2 of the season. And the Devils continue their 5-game homestand against the Toronto Maple Leafs Tuesday at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. This game will air on ESPN Plus and Hulu, so you'll be able to watch it on Hulu and ESPN Plus. Avalanche, they conclude their 5-game road trip against the Pittsburgh Penguins Tuesday at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. All right, so Utah Hockey Club, Philadelphia Flyers. So Utah Hockey Club holds on for a 4-2 win against the Flyers. Logan Cooley had a goal and assist for a 2-point night, and Utah improves to 12-11-4 of the season. So Utah Hockey Club was playing a back-to-back set entering this one because, of course, they won 5-2 Saturday afternoon against the Buffalo Sabres, and they win 4-2 against the Philadelphia Flyers. Michael Carcone, Yusuf Alamaki, and Kevin Stenlin also scored for Utah, while Jackson Stauber made 22 saves for the Flyers. Joel Farabee and Owen Tippett scored for Philly, while Samuel Ersson made 21 saves in his return. Of course, Ersson missed the last 11 games for the Flyers due to a lower body injury. And the Flyers, they were playing a back-to-back set as well, entering this one because, of course, Saturday afternoon, they played against the Boston Bruins. That was part of the NHL Network Showcase game right there, and they lost 4-3 in overtime. They were leading 3-1. And they lost 4-3. And, of course, Mitch Coffey now has 25 points this season. First rookie this season to reach 25 points. So he is going to be the Calder Memorial Trophy winner, no doubt. The Flyers are back in action Tuesday against the Blue Jackets at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time, while Utah Hockey Club returns home to face the Minnesota Wild Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. Of course, that game will be on ESPN Plus and Hulu. And, of course, the last game of the night, it was the Dallas Stars taking on the Calgary Flames. Of course, the Stars beat the Flames 6-2. Jake Oettinger, he certainly had a big performance in that one. So, yeah. All right, NHL games on the slate for today. So, of course, Detroit Red Wings taking on the Buffalo Sabres at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time, followed by Chicago Blackhawks taking on New York Rangers at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. This will air on NHL Network, so 2 original 6 teams going at it, and both teams are needed for a win because both teams are currently struggling. So the Blackhawks, they need to get a win. They lost 5 straight. They got the new coach, Anders Sorensen, behind the bench. The Rangers lost 7 of their past 9. They're coming off of a 7-5 loss yesterday afternoon to the Seattle Kraken, so they're needed for a win. So both teams, they're looking to get wins in this one. It's going to be tough, but we'll just have to see who comes out with the win. Hopefully it's the Blackhawks, but highly doubt it. And then we got the Anaheim Ducks taking on the Montreal Canadiens at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. This will air on Amazon Prime for my fellow Canadians up north. So 3 games on the slate for today, so not really busy around the NHL Fun fact, 4 original 6 teams will be in action today. So, of course, the Red Wings, Blackhawks, Rangers, and Canadians will take action today. So, no Toronto Maple Leafs and Boston Bruins in this one. It would be really cool to see all 6 original 6 teams being in action today, but you only got 4 out of the 6 original 6 teams in action. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for this episode of the Hockey Talk with TG podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in as always. I really do appreciate the people who always tune in to the Hockey Talk with TG podcast. Of course, this podcast airs every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 11:30 a.m. to noon Central Time, and then from 12:30 p.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you are staying up to date on that. Make sure you are listening to each and every episode I put out the Hockey Talk TG podcast. Of course, this is your podcast for all things hockey. If you want to stay up to date on the latest NHL news, players, teams, stats, etc., this is your podcast. So make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Make sure you give me a follow on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day. God first, as always. Be blessed. I will see you guys Wednesday for another episode of the Hockey Talk with TG podcast. Take care.